Bueno, continuamos Linces Cósmicos desde donde lo dejamos. Que por cierto, antes de que se me olvide, voy a subirle un punto de resistencia para tener un poco más de salud. Ahí está. Perfecto. A ver, vamos a... Nos faltaba esto de esta habitación.
This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
A radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside.
¿Crees que debería encenderla?
We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to use it.
Encender la máquina.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open.
Mirar dentro del compartimiento.
It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment.
A ver, pulsar
Nothing
imprimir.
happens.
Pulsar reproducir.
Nothing happens.
Pulsar otra vez botón
Nothing
reproducir.
happens.
¿No? Intentar insertar plan de
Like a
reproducción.
smooth draw,
No, de
the
producción.
filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking.
Pulsar el botón
A
reproducir.
bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The sound of static seeps through the machine's planar magnetic drive. Have you stirred the ghost of the doomed commercial area from its rest? Could this be its dismembered heart beginning to flutter? The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until a voice speaks out, crackling and old, cutting.
Good afternoon. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule?
¿Qué es el plan de
The
producción?
filament you have inserted into the reader.
¿Se refiere a ese chisme brillante que he metido dentro?
Yes. Is that the production schedule?
Sí.
Good. Please repeat the password.
Password. Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved. You
Rayos.
should ask her for a hint.
Una contraseña. Las contraseñas se me dan fatal. ¿No me puede dar una pista?
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
¿Es mi cumpleaños?
Still no.
Soy policía, por favor, abra esta cosa.
I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder for stress accident. Without filing a warrant with Lintel, I cannot give you access to this filament.
I'm afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password?
No sé la contraseña.
Received. I will register this login attempt.
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up sooner or later.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
A ver, probemos con la contraseña del plan de producción.
Good. Please
No me sé la contraseña.
Don't worry.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today?
¿Por qué me ha llamado Fortress Accident?
Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered to.
¿Tiene más datos sobre esta compañía?
One moment. Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive call-in radio games
That's not bad.
¿Cómo funcionan dichos radiojuegos interactivos?
Any other questions?
¿Eres una máquina o estás viva?
Yes, I am alive. I am 74 years old and my name is Yvonne.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
Yvonne, mi compañero acaba de decirme que está ahí porque los de las radiocomputadoras son todos unos paranoicos.
They are merely cautious. It's my job to protect their filaments as a password repeater at the East Insulindian Station.
Vale, pero ¿dónde se encuentra? ¿Cómo sabría que estaba aquí?
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian Repeater Station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios.
Doesn't it get lonely, sitting there all by herself?
¿No es un trabajo un poco solitario?
Lonely? Why would it get lonely? I get to talk to people all day.
That's why she does this.
Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do, Fortress Accident.
Eso es todo por ahora. Pulsar apagar.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard.
Sacar plan de
The
producción.
filament slides out of its glow.
Irte. Aquí ya habíamos visto.
This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. A diagram for summoning some time-forgotten being? The symbols seem very esoteric. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very pedantic.
Un momento, ¿cómo es que sé cómo son las teselas kedriáticas?
History classes, students with their textbooks open, studying the roots of our civilization. Those aquarelle blue tiles looked beautiful in the sun.
¿Qué ven mis ojos?
Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too. Sparse and cryptic.
Radiofrecuencias para qué?
Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced.
Debe ser una obra de arte compleja.
You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled The Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants.
Si es un juego, ¿quién está
Whoever
jugando?
decides to call in to a call-in station, all of this is gone, left unrealized. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became.
¿Por qué lo
The
dices?
schedule. I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
¿Qué más?
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages. Why does art inspire you so much?
Lo hace, sí, pero ¿qué es el arte?
Excellent question. Art is a diverse range of visual, literary, auditory, and performative creativity. It's an expression of imagination and technical skill. In short, art is the highest form of human communication, representation, narrative, emotion, and agency intertwined.
¿Encajaría en el mundo del arte? Es
Have you
que...
looked in the mirror lately? You have the exact features of a savage art critic, with that beard and those clothes, disheveled and prophetic. Perhaps you should try to critique architecture too.
Profético. Sí que llevo un tiempo sintiéndome un tanto crítico.
Yes, you seek substance. No vapid representations and reproductions of social mores as made manifest in stuffy biennials. We're talking real, living art here. Become the art cop. Half art critic, half cop.
Espera, pero ¿no tengo que ser 100% policía? Por lo del resolver el caso y todo eso.
Quit being so indecisive. What are you going for here? Some kind of indecisive and camp aesthetic now? Strike a bold shape here. Go art or go home.
Bien, si un 50% de crítico de arte es lo que se necesita para librarme de este tedio de rutina, que así sea.
Exactly. It's not only your duty to only catch the criminals off the street, you must also apprehend criminals of the printing press and the gallery, the trite and derivative artists and writers of the world. Go ahead and provide savage criticisms, art cop. The world is yours to rip to pieces.
Ok. Bueno, prosigamos, Kim. A ver qué más encontramos. ¿Qué pasó, Kim? ¿Qué quieres decir?
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace?
Bueno, vamos a hablar un poco. Oh. Parece un programa de contraespionaje ultra secreto.
No, that's not it. I think it looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games. Only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers.
Utter madness, he thinks, as a compliment.
¿Cómo planeaban
Two
hacer?
call-in stations. None of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the game master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
¿Alguien había intentado eso antes?
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry.
Not in Revachol West.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an interinsulary game before. We just don't have the technology.
¿Y esto era un juego de rol?
Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real immediately. This game is too good to be left unfinished.
¿Qué crees que le pasó a la compañía?
No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard.
Voilà.
Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but...
Bueno, ¿tenemos algo de dinero? Podríamos darles dinero para que lo acaben y hacerlos todavía más
It's
enormes.
too late for that, I'm afraid.
Creo que a Kim le gustó la idea.
Okay, let's keep moving.
Muy bien, Kim. El viento aúlla desde el conducto de carbón. Ok. Un oso.
You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost, and the bear's eyes are glowing red. The bear looks oddly realistic. Is it taxidermy?
¿Qué es esta cosa? Parece un oso polar gigante.
The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A sharp slice of light shines out from its mysterious belly door.
Forzar la
A
puerta.
gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the inside of a refrigerator. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun.
Tranquilo, Kim. Solo es una nevera.
Of course, just a giant ice bear-shaped fridge.
Sí, amenazante, pero lo
Let's
entiendo.
take a look inside.
Mirar dentro de la
The
nevera.
shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge.
Tomar la nota de la puerta.
You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door.
Examinar uno de los envoltorios de
A
la...
friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge.
¿Se puede saber qué rayos o qué narices hace una nevera con forma de oso en un sótano abandonado?
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge.
O sea que intentaban vender helados con esa nevera.
I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic.
En efecto. Cerrar la puerta. Ah, vamos a leer la nota, sí, cierto.
The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen magnets have left spots on its surface.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still active.
Leer la nota.
Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe.
Hablan de Kuno, obviamente.
You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf.
¿Quién escribiría la
Looks
nota?
like someone from that radio game company upstairs. I'm a little surprised they just left their property lying here.
Tal vez tuvieron que irse cagando
That's a
leches.
plausible hypothesis.
Refréscame la memoria, anda. ¿Qué es un filamento de
It
memoria?
belongs inside a radio computer, storing its memory. It's like a tape. You listen to disco tapes, right? It's like one of your disco tapes, only for a computer.
¿Quién es el mocoso pelirrojo?
Really? You don't have a single guess?
¿Te refieres a Kuno?
Oh, I'm sure that child would love to get his hands on a filament memory. Even if he doesn't know what to do with it, he'd probably try to pawn it for speed, based on our encounter.
¿Alguna idea de dónde puede estar la máquina de helados congelada?
I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the ice bear fridge.
Guardar la nota. Ah, mira, aquí hay algo. Es una máquina de helados desenchufada y descongelándose. La linterna proyecta una sombra extraña. Hay una puerta oculta. Oh, vamos para allá. Hay un par de rifles escondidos sobre las tuberías. Están oxidados y parecen inservibles. Alguien ha escondido unas armas inservibles en el falso techo.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
¿Dónde estamos? Mirar en torno a la habitación secreta.
Seems like an old bunker from the revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache.
Mirar... Ah, mira, hay un agujero en la pared.
There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to take a look?
Venga, vale.
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away.
Kim, rifles.
Are these any good?
Examinar los rifles.
Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest, but one catches your eye. A bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the others.
Este tiene buena pinta.
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way.
¿Por qué estaría este rifle aquí
It
escondido?
means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in the future.
He likes this find.
Sí, supongo que debe ser un rifle de muy buen ver. Aquí está. Excelente. Veamos qué más hay por acá. Vamos allá. Esta es una máquina de helados congelada que todavía funciona. Oh, excelente.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to be frozen shut.
Girar la manivela.
Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. It's all gone now. You'll never become a poet or an entrepreneur.
Entreponauta. Intentar forzar
You
la
slip
tapa.
your fingers under the frozen lid, but the ice is too cold for you to get a good grip. A pry bar would come in handy here. If you want to try again, then you need to have the pry.
Equip the pry bar by going to the tools.
Ok, vamos a usar la palanca entonces. Objetos... no, herramientas. A ver.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has
Rayos.
a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to
Oh,
be
pues la vamos
frozen
a-
shut.
Necesitamos creo que una mejor palanca, pero vamos a intentarlo por amor al arte.
The ice squeaks
Pues
beneath
sí.
the pry bar. You think you've got the bar jammed in there pretty well, but the lid simply won't budge.
Pero qué
You
rayos.
see the pry bar's metal handle bending right before your very eyes.
Yeah, well, that's a good pry bar. I'm not criticizing it, but this ice cream maker is frozen shut. It takes an advanced tool to get it open.
¿Avanzada? ¿Y de dónde sacamos
I
una?
have no idea, officer. This ice cream maker isn't important enough to requisition a special tool.
Sooner or later, you will stumble upon a tool mighty enough. Then we will know what's in this mysterious ice cream maker.
Vámonos. Rayos. Perfecto. Un poco de dinero. Aquí también, centavos. A través de la ventana ves los pies de la gente pasando por la calle. Ok, ya no hay nada más aquí. Esto es...
Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice bear fridge, and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby.
A la máquina de helado cercana. Ah, pues voy a... El rojo va a parar hasta la nevera de oso polar. Y en negro, ok, desenchufar el cable negro.
Something close to you dies with a soft electric purr.
Why did you do that?
Porque es negro, como el color del cosmos inconmensurable.
The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything.
Sí, porque así podríamos abrir esta, ¿no?
This orange machine is dead still. You slip if you want to try.
Equip the pry bar by going to the tools.
A ver. Va otra vez.
This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand crank.
Pero aún así necesitamos una mejor palanca, aún así. Pero estuvo bien que la desenchufáramos. Si ven que me pongo mucho la bolsa es porque si encuentro aquí una botella o algo. Una playera. Los cables del intercomunicador conectan con el cuadrado no sé qué. Estos son para subir las escaleras, pero ahorita no queremos subirlos. Vamos a terminar de explorar aquí. La pared se ha derrumbado. No se puede pasar.
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. Looks like this furnace has a face, and it's a face of agony.
Kim, ¿qué es esta cosa? ¿Es una
Looks
caldera?
like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only dead rats.
Mirar dentro de la
It's
caldera.
dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice.
What are you doing?
No estoy seguro, Kim, pero creo que allí arriba hay alguien
Wait,
hablando.
really? Maybe it's coming from behind those safety curtains we saw upstairs.
¿Qué será esto? Embadurnarte las manos de
A
carbón.
lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. You feel the spirit of Ramut Karzai, ancient hero of Grad, pulsing through you. All that's left is to cover your face in war paint.
Hadramut Karzai. Embadurnarte las mejillas con
Three
carbón.
dangerous stripes appear onto your cheeks, telling stories of your wild soul.
What are you doing?
Soy la reencarnación de un guerrero milenario, Ilmarano.
Please wipe your face clean, officer.
No, you're a proud warrior. Keep it.
No limpiarla.
These 3 stripes give you strength in this dangerous realm. It would be foolish to remove them.
Estamos explorando este lugar siniestro y necesito la protección de mi pintura de guerra.
And this protects you.
Esto es una pintura de guerra tradicional. Me servirá de salvoconducto contra los espíritus guardianes que habitan en este sitio.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Just pointing out, this is not traditional Seminese war paint. No idea where you got it.
Las voces en la caldera podrían ser de la entidad. Plaisance dijo que habitan en la chimenea.
You're right. The rooms do look like they're connected. But malignant entities don't exist. At least not the supernatural kind.
Always has to be the skeptic, this man.
Gritar hola dentro de la caldera.
Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then, you've awakened the entity.
Yo te invoco, fantasma de la zona comercial maldita. Respóndeme, espíritu.
Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the 2nd floor. I'll open it.
You hear a low rumble upstairs. The sound of a curtain being pulled.
After you, officer.
Vamos a darle una patada por amor al
A
arte.
hollow ring echoes through the furnace. Your toe hurts.
Uy, casi me mata esa cosa. Ok, irte.
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace.
Irte, ok. Quiero hacer un experimento. Guardar partida. Si le doy otra patada, ¿me baja también la vida?
A thick layer of coal dust covers. A hollow ring echoes through the furnace. Your toe hurts.
No sirvió de nada. Voy a cargar la partida. Y rápido paso al baño porque también tengo que ir. Espérenme. Listo, disculpen la demora. Pasé al baño rápido. Las funciones biológicas me solicitaban. Y eso que no me tardé, comúnmente me tardo mucho porque, digo, tenemos confianza, ¿no? Pues me limpio muy bien el trasero. Porque como sabrán, si han tenido muchas experiencias íntimas, luego hay muchas personas o algunas, no todas, ¿no? Pero sí hay algunas que como que tienen esa mala costumbre de no limpiarse bien. Y aparte pues me lavo las manos, ¿no? De hecho en el extrabajo tóxico donde estaba, una vez me sucedió que vi como yo me estaba lavando las manos, entró un cuate que era jefe, era creo que un director, pero lo habían rebajado de puesto y después pasó al baño, al vejitorio y después salió, no se lavó las manos y aparte lo hizo todo muy rápido porque lo estaban esperando unas personas en recepción y fue y les dio la mano. Entonces, ¿qué les digo? Ah, miren, nos sacó eso. No, vamos a regresar. Pero sí, así sucedió. Entonces, pues, ¿qué les puedo decir? ¿Dónde es el segundo piso? Creo que era arriba. Ah, sí, ya me acordé. Tenemos que regresarnos. Aquí ya no hay nada más que ver. No. Ok, vámonos. Vámonos, Kim. Aquí ya no hay mucho que nos atañe. Ok, y sí, esto estaba bloqueado. Y ya no lo está. Oh, mira. Una bandeja llena de dados poliédricos. De colores hay cientos de ellos. Ah, ok. Han reconvertido la máquina de caramelos en un surtidor de dados. Alberga centenares. Ah, podría ser de decoración.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Milius. So what kind of die are you looking for?
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps it's wise to go along with this masquerade for now. She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Un momento, ¿qué quiere decir con Milieus?
Yes, a Mili is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these.
Okay.
Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking.
Me confundes con otro, yo no llamé a la persiana.
Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind?
¿Por qué me preguntas por dados?
I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that count?
Por supuesto, me flipan los juegos de rol y necesito
Very
unos
good.
dados.
My rate is 10 real per set, unless you want something really unusual. Take a look around and see if there's any particular stone you want to use.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shells like stalagmites. This person means you, or no one else, absolutely no harm. She will answer freely and honestly. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
Qué buena onda. ¿Cómo es que te hiciste artesana de
How
dados?
did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dice out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there.
¿Eres aficionada a los juegos de rol?
Especially, I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items. She's thankful for the security they provide her.
Vale, me gustaría encargarte un
Of
dado.
course. Tell me what you have in mind.
¿Tienes algún dado
What
maldito?
do you mean by cursed?
Maldito como esta zona comercial.
Alright, how about I surprise you? Come back in 8 hours with 7 real, and I'll give you your cursed die.
En realidad tengo que pensármelo un poco.
Maybe you have some other ideas for dice?
Háblame de tus dados más
A
extraordinarios.
star that fell from the firmament? Those cost more than 7 real. Are you sure?
Sí, yo mismo soy una estrella, una superestrella. Las superestrellas no se preocupan por el dinero.
You definitely have the proper attitude. How about a pair of 100-sided dice?
¿Cien
Made
caras?
of ivory and inlaid with lodestone, a naturally occurring magnet, to complement your magnetic personality.
¿Cien
Pieces
caras?
of lodestone were used as the first magnetic compasses, from which they derive their other name, course stones. That's a stone for leaders.
10 real, and I can get these ready in 8 hours.
Pero los dados magnéticos ruedan bien.
True, magnetic dice are definitely different. When rolled together, the magnetic fields of the pips interact with each other to push and pull on each other as they're rolled, just like all magnetic personalities do.
Ah, rayos, ojalá tuviera más dinero y le encargaba un montón de cosas. Antes tengo que pensármelo un poco.
Maybe you have some other ideas for dice?
Lo siento, la verdad es que no me decido por ningún
How
dado.
about an amber die?
¿Ámbar? ¿El oro del pobre?
Who told you amber was cheap? It's beautiful, really, and has been treasured since the ancient times. For 7 real, I'll craft you a 13-sided die from piece of amber with a fossilized insect. It's perfect for those who can't seem to let go of their past.
Parece
I
mi
had a
rollo.
feeling.
Es que no tengo dinero, no puedo gastarlo ahorita. Tengo que
Maybe
pensármelo.
you have some other ideas for dice?
¿Conoces el sistema World Underneath? Teret? Quiero un dado para eso.
Yes, Fortress Accident. It's too bad they never finished their game. The Wiro Untethered die is a variation of a standard role-playing die. Only, instead of plants, it uses motives of ice and death. And loss, of course.
Ice, death, loss. Sounds like you.
I'm thinking something made from alligator jawbone, cast in black resin. The reptile bone is as white as ice and dead as, well, death. For 7 real, I could have it ready in 8 hours.
¿Qué es un dado de rol
It's an
estándar?
icositetrahedron, a 24-sided die that can produce results for 2-sided, 3-sided, 4-sided, 6-sided, and 12-sided die with a single roll. Technically, you can also use it for many other sizes, but you may need to reroll results.
Loving it. So nifty.
¿Por qué en resina?
Untreated bone is porous and prone to chipping. Cast it in something hard like resin though, and voila, it's perfect.
Tal vez debería encargar otro
Maybe
distinto.
you have some other ideas for dice?
Algo sencillo, un dado estándar, normal y
A normal
corriente.
die? I'm a novelty dice maker. I don't make normal dice.
Entonces, ¿de qué tipo
Polyhedral
haces?
dice. Dice that have more than 4 sides. Octahedrons,
Octaedros,
trapezohedrons,
dodecaedros,
dodecahedrons, but
trapezoidales.
also barrel dice and teetotum bows. Come on now, be a little creative.
Busco algo que me ayude en mi
think
trabajo.
I have just the right one for you.
Police colors.
Porque soy agente de policía, ¿no?
Not the most original, I know, but sometimes the obvious choice is obvious because it's best.
Pero a veces lo más evidente es lo más
Here,
eficiente.
catch. They're a gift from me.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. Whatever you do, don't overthink it.
No, espero que se los agarre.
Mr. Smooth Moves.
Uy,
You snatch
qué churro.
the dice out of the air with one hand, just like you're in a movie.
Guiñarle un
What
ojo.
are the odds? The red one is made of bloodstone with a lapis lazuli inlay, and the blue one is the inverse. I believe these dice are your lucky charm, officer.
She winked
okay.
back at you. Can you believe it? You truly are Mr. Smooth Moves.
You definitely need luck in Martinez. Was there anything else?
¿Sabes algo acerca del hombre al que lincharon detrás del Whirling in
Nothing
Rags?
really. I didn't know him.
Who cares about the dead body? We might be dealing with a malignant entity here. The lieutenant looks at his notebook, then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window.
¿Qué quiere decir con jaleo
there's
diario?
always something going on in the whirling backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire. She's not sorry to disappoint you. Informing on someone in a murder investigation would intrude upon her focused existence.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid.
¿Y nunca te paras
I
a
might
mirar por la
have,
ventana?
But in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness. It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone.
¿Sueles trabajar los domingos
It's
por la
an
noche?
odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
Qué buena onda. Fíjense, esta chica, a pesar de que trabaja en una labor muy particular, e incluso hasta los domingos, le gusta, es algo que disfruta hacer. Y sí, obviamente no sabemos si ganará mucho o poco. De que gana algo, lo gana, porque si no, no tendría cómo poder seguir con su oficio, pero qué padre, ¿no? Que puedas por fin lograr eso. Creo que he conocido muy pocas personas en mi vida que tengan un gusto por trabajar y no la necesidad. Que sea más imperante el gusto que la necesidad, pero bueno. Entiendo, gracias por las respuestas.
Anything else, officer?
¿Dónde estamos? ¿Qué es este
We're
sitio?
inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Plaisance was right. There's an entity living in the chimney. You should ask her about the curse.
O sea, debe ser porque ella hace ruido y los refrigeradores les llega por los refrigeradores les llega cara la factura de la luz. Tengo entendido que este sitio está maldito. ¿Eres consciente de que la gente se refiere a este lugar como zona
I've
comercial
heard the
maldita?
stories, but I don't think those stories are true.
Me envía Plaisance. Está empecinada con que este sitio está plagado de energías malévolas.
Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow?
No sé por qué la librería aún no sea... Oh, bueno, Plaisance es una entendida. Tiene talismanes semenenses contra la maldición velando por su tienda.
Seminese trinkets, of course.
But it doesn't. This is merely a sarcastic response.
All right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex.
Esto estaría bueno. No, al Whirling tampoco le va especialmente bien. La camarera dejó su trabajo y los clientes no pagan las facturas.
I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
Eso es porque eres brillante y estás consagrada a tu oficio. La maldición no afecta a personas como tú.
What, so the curse only affects people with poor work ethics? What you're describing isn't a curse, it's capitalism.
Time has
Qué
come to
curioso.
face the source. Fear not, for the forces of the universe are supporting you in this psychic quest.
Empiezo a pensar que no hay maldición, solo decisiones comerciales y fluctuaciones naturales del mercado.
Truth is always so disappointingly mundane and boring. But I'm glad we got this sorted out. Anything else I can help you with today?
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful, as far as we can see. Blaisance is not going to like what you have to tell her.
No, supongo que tendremos que inventarle una historia. ¿Sabes qué ocurrió con el resto de inquilinos?
More or
Aquí no
less.
queda nadie más.
Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
Solía haber una peluquería
Yes,
cerca de
I
aquí,
think
¿verdad?
It was called Andrones Orlando, something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad.
¿Qué hay de malo en experimentar un poco? Los clientes tendrían que haber
Yes,
sido más
it just wasn't the
receptivos.
time yet. It
¿Qué
wasn't
fue
really a
del
gym,
gimnasio?
It was Artemiteps Boxing Club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime.
¿Y quién era
Kind man
Artemitep?
from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back.
Puede que eso le viniera bien a Kuno, un centro comunitario de
Kuno.
boxeo.
Who's Kuno?
Un pequeño gremlin pelirrojo al que
yes.
le gusta profanar
You mean the kid with the
cadáveres.
sailor's mouth. Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard. I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid.
¿Qué tal le
It
fue a ese
didn't.
proyecto
If
comunitario?
anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since.
¿A qué viene
this
tanta
one's
ventana
a
rota?
mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff medias. Who would have guessed?
O sea, que
What's a
drogas.
snuff milieu?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own.
Bien, muy bonito lo de los escombros, pero ¿qué leches es un
It's a
milieu
sub-rosa
snuff?
radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good
Ah, su
money to
mecha.
get off on it.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that, as if it's just another piece of information to lay out for the world.
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators.
¿Había algún taxidermista en el edificio? He visto un montón de animales
You mean
disecados
Mr.
tirados por ahí.
Fabron, the taxidermist. No, he mostly just did drugs. Anything else?
Me topé con unos maniquíes
There
bastante
used to be a fashion
tétricos.
atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years until the insect rights activists came.
¿Activistas por los derechos de los insectos? ¿Pero
The
qué
atelier
rayos?
produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently, chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection.
Se llevaron su merecido. Diseñar ropa con alas de escarabajos
At least it
es una
had some
pésima
spark to
idea.
it. Most young designers just combine lace with leather and call it original.
As she shifts around, you notice several dead flies on the windowsill in front of her. Legs up. They're not.
Anything else?
¿Qué me dices
They
de
were
los
made
esquís
by
y
a
las palas de
company called
rotor?
Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashkor or wherever he is.
Qué interesante.
Usual,
¿Qué dicen las
I imagine. But
retransmisiones?
he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on them just as soon as he returns.
Men like that are a curse.
Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those skis and blades are still lying around in the house. Not much use now, I guess.
They were just props. Why return them?
Me topé con una
Fortress
máquina
Accident, a
rarísima.
radio game studio.
She liked them.
They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral. They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules.
¿A qué te refieres con
The
tomarse
usual, they
libertades?
ran
¿Qué
out of
ocurrió?
money and couldn't get the project done on time. Well, I did hear
¿Qué
them
salió mal?
talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Lo que pude ver del proyecto tenía una pinta
Yes, but
bastante
when the money
impresionante.
started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't
hay
have
algo de
enough
eso.
willpower to produce something truly historic and to show up to work on time.
Qué mal, yo los habría
Not the
apoyado. El
wisest
proyecto
decision.
pintaba genial.
You would have lost all your savings.
The dice is black and filled with little silvery flecks, like snowfall.
Anything else?
En el sótano había un oso disecado que daba
boy,
muchísimo
the fabled
yuyuy.
Show ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask their other ideas.
Indeed, what were the other ideas?
There was really just
Muy bien,
one.
¿cuáles eran las
And
otras
it
ideas?
involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth.
Pues eso es lo que hacen las grandes empresas con las
I mean,
recepcionistas.
slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
Sounds like she really didn't like those girls.
¿Qué idea más pepinera? ¿Cómo si no puede uno elegir a las personas? No sé qué esperaban. ¿20 centavos la hora en un salario de pena?
Oh, but they
Me
did.
sorprende hasta que se
They did
presentaran
show
en
up
el
to work,
trabajo.
and not alone. There were also acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the ice cream stand. And they already had the bear. The bear.
¿Qué pasa con el oso?
Of course not.
The
The bear was
bear.
terrifying.
¿No salió bien?
No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Ravishore Ice City lost the price war to its rival, Glace 5000. Glace 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges.
Bueno chicos, hasta aquí lo dejamos y en el siguiente video continuamos. Ya saben, si no los veo, buenas tardes, buenas noches, buenos días. Un abrazo, tomen agua, cuídense.